Assalamualaikum, my name is Amirul and I will introduce our subject that we pick for this experiment. We choose is a Samping Songket, which is one of the Malaysian traditional costume. This Samping is very popular during the Muslim Eid, or we call Hari Raya, and also during a wedding. It also have a many philosophy and also have a many style to tie up this Samping, such as ikat pacung, ikat kembung, and ikat ikut. Next, this Samping wear a various style based on the state. As example, the style of pedagang dalam is a very popular in Malaysia state of Johor. It is usually wear with a baju Melayu, we call baju Melayu Tenduk Belanga. For other state in Malaysia, particularly on the West Coast, this Samping also famous, usually wear with baju Melayu, we call baju Melayu Cekak Musang. And also for women interested to wear this Samping, also they usually use this Samping and held to their left hand. And also they use to go outdoor to protect themselves from the sun. Next, the function of this Samping is usually complementary to traditional clothing used in daily activity as well as traditional ceremony. There is a difference of Samping based on the culture on that place. Some area was specialized this Samping to among the nobility and royal family. So this is make this Samping seems limited and more exclusive.
Okay, next, there is many size this Samping was made, because this Samping also made for kids and also have a different size and made for adult. For this assignment, we used Samping that have size is 132 cm times 143 cm. And this also the example or the diagram of our chosen Samping Songket.
Now we move to part B of the assignment 2, the geometry. Part B1, I will explain the geometrical shape of the Samping Songket. After we research, there are 5 geometrical shapes on the Samping Songket that we have found. First of all is a rectangle. Rectangle is quadrilateral with 4 right angles. The structure of the Samping has a rectangle shape as shown below in figure. Rectangle of the Samping Songket is 2D shape in the geometry, having 4 sides and 4 corners. Its 2 sides meet a right angle. Thus, a rectangle have 4 angles, each measuring 90 degrees. The opposite side of the rectangle have the same length and are parallel. Second, the geometrical shape of Samping Songket is equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle is a triangle with all 3 sides of equal length corresponding to what could also be known as a regular triangle. An equilateral triangle have a special case of isosceles triangle have no just 2, but all 3 sides are equal. We can find the shape of triangle in bukit motif at Samping Songket. At the figure below show the bukit motif that implemented the equilateral triangle shape or angle of an equilateral triangle measure 60 degrees. Third is geometrical shape of the Samping Songket is isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle is a triangle that has 2 sides of equal length. Sometimes it is specified as having exactly 2 sides of equal length, and sometimes as have at least 2 sides of equal length. The latter version, thus including the equilateral triangle, is a special case. Pagar istana motif at the Samping Songket show that it has the isosceles triangle shape. That pagar istana motif has equal side of the isosceles triangle known as a leg. The third and unequal side of isosceles triangle is known as the base. Next is the rhombus. A rhombus is a parallelogram with 4 equal sides and opposite equal angle. A rhombus can be 2 square, or if it has 2 acute angle and 2 obtuse angle, it takes the shape of a diamond. Figure below show the tapak catur motif that implemented the rhombus shape. Tapak catur motif categorized as a rhombus that because it has 4 equal sides and opposite angle are equal. And because its opposite sides are parallel, it also considered to be parallelogram. Lastly is a rhomboid. Rhomboid is parallelogram which adjacent side of unequal length and angle non-right angle. A parallelogram with a side of equal length, equilateral, is a rhombus but not rhomboid. Pucuk rebung motif at the Samping motif describe the rhomboid shape. That because the pucuk rebung motif look like loop side a diamond. Rhomboid can be applied to anything with those shapes.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. My name is Ahmad Al-Amin bin Abu Samah and I'm going to present on the concept of the geometrical shapes applied to Samping Songket. So the first one, we could see from the Samping Songket itself, it has a rectangle shape. So it has length of base, which is B, is equal to 143 cm, and it has length of altitude H is equal to 132 cm. So we can simply find the area of Samping Songket by multiply the length of base and the length of altitude, which is 143 multiplied with 132, and we will get the area of Samping Songket is 18,876 cm square. So the next one, we have equilateral triangle implemented on bukit motif. So we know that on bukit motif, it has three sides equal of length, which is 1.0 cm. So it has equilateral triangle where it also has angles congruent, which means they have the same measurement. So we could find the area of equilateral triangle, which is it has three sides of equal length, which is A equal to B and equal to C, which is 1.0 cm. So the first one, we need to find the semi-perimeter in order to use using Hero's formula to find the area. So we have semi-perimeter S is equal to 1/2 multiplied with the summation of A plus B plus C. And then we will have the value of semi-perimeter is equal to 1.5 cm. And then we can simply substitute the value of semi-perimeter into the Heron's formula to find the area of equilateral triangle. So we have the formula is A is equal to square root of S multiplied with S minus A multiplied with S minus B and multiplied with S minus C. So we will get the area of equilateral triangle implemented on bukit motif is 0.433 cm square. So the next one, we have isosceles triangle shape. So the isosceles triangle shape can be seen on pagar istana motif. So we have two sides of equal length, which is 3.0 cm, and we have the base. The length of the base is 4.1 cm. So in order to find the area for isosceles triangle, we need to find the length of altitude. So by using theorem Pythagoras, we can find the altitude, and we have h is equal to 2.2 cm, where this h is the altitude. We also know that the property of an isosceles triangle, that the base angles are equal, and the base angle are each is 50 degree, where the vertex angle is 45 degree. So now we can find the area of isosceles triangle on pagar istana motif. We have the formula is equal to half multiplication of base and altitude, and then we just substitute the value, and we have the area of isosceles triangle, or the area of pagar istana motif is 4.51 cm square. So the next shape is rhombus. So a rhombus could be seen on pucuk rubung motif. So a rhombus is a quadrilateral in which the opposite sides are parallel and the opposite angles are equal and also congruent to each other. So we could see from the pucuk rubung motif, it has line AB is parallel to line CD, and also line AD is parallel to line BC. So the length of bases, we could see that AD is equal to BC, which is 2.5 cm, and AB is equal to DC, which is 2.0 cm. Since it is a rhombus, we also know that the angle of ABC is equal to angle opposite of it, which is the angle of ADC, which is 135 degree, and angle of BAD is congruent to its opposite angle, which is the angle of BCD, which is equal to 50 degree. So then, in order to find the area of rhombus on pucuk rubung motif, we need to identify the length of bases and the length of altitude. So then, by using the sin A is equal to opposite of our hypotenuse, we can find the altitude, which is the h. So we get the answer of h is 1.53 cm. So then we can simply substitute the value to find the area of rhombus, which is the multiplication of base and the altitude. So then we have the area of rhombus on pucuk rubung motif is equal to 3.83 cm square. And the next shape that we can see from the Samping Songket is the rhombus. So the rhombus can be seen on tapak catur motif. In plane Euclidean geometry, a rhombus is a quadrilateral whose all four sides have the same length, which means they also congruent to each other. The opposite angles are equal and also congruent to each other. So then we could see from the tapak catur motif, it has the equal length of sides, so which is equal to 1.5 cm. And we see the angle of ABC is congruent to its opposite, which is angle ADC, which is 100 degree, and the angle of BAD is congruent to its opposite angle, which is angle BCD, which is 70 degree. So in order to find the area of rhombus on tapak catur motif, we have to identify the diagonal of AC and diagonal of BD first. So diagonal AC is equal to 2.4 cm, which it connects the vertex A and C, while the diagonal BD is 1.8 cm, while it connects vertex B and D. Then we can substitute the value into the area formula, which is half multiplied with diagonal of AC and diagonal BD. So then we have the area is 2.16 cm square.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Hafizuddin bin Marzuki. In this video, I will talk about the transformation in motif and patterns of Samping Songket. In the making of Songket design of this Samping, that have a few concepts of transformation that has been applied to design certain patterns of geometry. Besides that, to design Samping made from Songket, the transformation of the geometry is to ensure that the formation are aligned and consistent. Then, to make repeating patterns, the concept of transformation is heavily involved. Basically, in this part, I will discuss three shapes that are commonly used to create Samping Songket patterns, which are rhombus, triangle, and rhomboid. Firstly, I will discuss the example of the triangular rhombus shape with respect to the rhombus. The plan is made entirely by the motif of the chessboard. Beside that, the idea of transformation engaged with the production of chessboard themes is translations and reflections. Example for reflections, the tapak catur motif on a vertical lines and horizontal lines. Then, example for translations, the tapak catur motif undergoes translations where every single point of the original motif A is associated with a second point on the motif B by locating it through a movement of a fixed length, which is 3.5 cm and its direction is to the right. Next, I will talk about triangle. The shape of triangle can be found in the pagar istana and bukit motif on the Samping Songket. The shape of the triangle in this design is arranged according to the concept of reflection in symmetrical line because it can give immaculate and systemized visualizations of the design on the fabric. Here is the example of the reflections of pagar istana motif across vertical axis, and for this one is the example of reflections of bukit motif. Other concept of transformations that involve in the creation of pagar istana motif and bukit motifs is translations. For your information, the bigger triangle usually be used at the center part of fabric, while the smaller one can be put at the end on the left and right of the material. Finally, I want to discuss about the rhomboid. Rhomboid calculations on the Songket can be utilized on various examples like blossom, gates, and others. Concerning the pucuk rebung theme that can be found on the texture, the petals are likewise enlivened by utilizing the idea of reflections. For example, from this figure we can see that the shapes are being reflected across a vertical line. Every point of the rhomboid is reflected across a line of symmetry. Each pair of corresponding vertices will lie on the opposite sides of the vertical line of the reflections at the same distance. Then, the pucuk rebung motif undergoes translation, where every single point of the original motif A is associated with a second point on the motif B by locating it through a movement of a fixed length which is 3 cm and its direction is downward.
Hi, today I will be presenting the part C, which are summary and conclusion. In the summary, I will be summarized in part A and part B, where the conclusion I will be to related between part A and part B. The summarized in part A, we investigate about background of the samping based on its culture, origin, function, and size. As we know, samping or known as Songket is a traditional Malay culture which involves for Muslim aid and painting. Based on origin, each of the state have different style towards samping. As an example is style pedagang dalam, which is very popular among Malaysia in Johor. Function of the samping not only were to a man, but the woman can use samping to be her left hand or use as a way when doing outdoor activity to protect themselves from sunlight. The some area use samping fabric as nobility and royal family. Samping have very limited size for children and elderly. In part B, we investigate about shape of the samping, measurement of samping, and motif and pattern applied on the samping. First, we investigate about shape of the samping. The shape of the samping have 5 shapes, which are rectangle, equilateral triangle, isosceles triangle, rhombus, and rhomboid. For measurement of samping, we investigate based on length of space, length of altitude, angle, and area. And then last, we investigate about motif and pattern related concept of a transformation, which are reflection and translation. Conclusion is made about the relationship between part A, which is background of the sampling, and part B, which is about the shape, measurement, and transformation applied on the sampling. Based on the analysis part A and part B, the motif and pattern on the sampling display on the world geometry in nature. The shape of the motif and pattern implement the transformation technique. It arranges and positioning based on Malay traditional. The sampling have variety of motif and pattern such as pucuk rebung motif, which undergo translation as well as tapak catur motif, where bukit motif and pagar istana motif undergo reflection. Motif and pattern of Malay traditional is very important to show their identity as well. For example, pagar istana motif to show their history about Malay traditional. And we can see A geometric image refers to formal elements such as valor, unity, repetition, and movement. We need to about the repetition of motif and pattern on the samping. Rapidly of motif and pattern applied on the samping to show their daily activity in terms to pure value for costume, medicine, and academic activity. That's all for us. Thank you.